gentlemen, boys and girls, we want to welcome you all to the Hello LLC. If you don't know about the Hello LLC, then you should know that it is about helping entrepreneurs leverage leading edge optimizations. And it's not just something cute and adorable that we put together. We've been in business for 8 years now, going on 9, and we are so happy to be able to help everyone live life optimally. And it's truly about helping everyone from their mind, their body, and their soul. And really, what we're helping people do is build their foundation, pivot them into the future, and really create something new as we understand the technology is changing, business is changing, the economy is changing, everything is changing, and we bring to your forefront, are you changing? And today we have an amazing conversation with the one and only Tara Bush. She's going to be leading today's final conversation, or should I say, the amazing Wisdom Wednesday conversation, where we're going to be talking about reconnecting with your purpose in all facets of your life. And then we want you guys to also come and join us tomorrow for our Financial Literacy is Caught but Not Taught with teacher Melanie herself. She's going to be joining us tomorrow live as well in the Hello Plaza. And if you guys do not know about the metaverse, I'm here to share with you that the metaverse is nothing more than the third generation of the internet. When we talk about Web 2, on this flat screen TV that we're looking at right now, or on your phone or on your laptop, it is now time for us to be able to pivot into the future, implementing these new technologies as we move forward and really being able to see how this all can work for us in the future. And so if you guys don't know, buckle up, buttercups, because, we're going to have an amazing conversation. We encourage you guys to join in us as well. We are on LinkedIn. We're on Clubhouse. We're on Fanbase. We're on actual YouTube Live. We're on Twitter, X, and we're also on YouTube, and we're on Twitch. So we're everywhere you can possibly think of. And this is what we share with people, is that we're actually doing it, not just talking it, but we lead by doing and showing up and pressing buttons. And we encourage you all to press some buttons as well. And so we want to welcome you guys all and join this amazing conversation, no matter where you're joining us from. We encourage you to share this out to your actual, your community, because your friends become our friends, and then we're all friends together. And as we continue to remind people, there's enough abundance out here for us all. And right now, collaboration is the new currency, and currency is the new energy and the new vibration that you bring to the table. And this is where we encourage you guys all to retool, restructure, and reorganize how you look at collaborating, how you look at building your business, how you look at really looking at these traumas and dramas and patterns and programs that we have in our life, that it's time to regrow. I was looking at a post earlier today, and did you guys know that an eagle can live up to 70 years old? And in order for this eagle to make it, this eagle at the age of 40 has to go through some tremendous pain to get that other 30. And eagles literally have to go to the top of a mountain, and they have to peck at a mountain, and they literally have to be able to destroy their beak. Once their beak is destroyed, they then are able to take their claws and pull out their claws so new claws can regrow. And this is literally where we're at for a lot of us that have been on this planet Earth, that we have to be able to tear away the old and create new. And it takes us getting over.
Tear out all their feathers.
Yeah, and tear out all their feathers as well. And we also have to be able to, recreate and restructure these things as well as we move forward. And so that's what today's conversation is about, is we want you to really climb the top of this mountain with us. We want you to be able to, hey, I need to reconnect with my purpose. Why am I doing these things? What am I doing these things for? And, as I was running this morning, a lot of the times, we do things for us. And your purpose is not just connected to you, because when you are thinking about your family, when you're thinking about your kids, your wife, your husband, whoever it is, you should not quit. You better not quit. But what happens is we get in this traditional way where we just think about us, and it's just us that we're quitting on, and we're not. And so as we're having this conversation today, I want you right now, if you would please, to write down 3 people's names. 3 people's names that are important to you. I don't care who they are. Write those people's names down. Put it in the chat if you want to do it that way. And I want you to be able to ask yourself, hey, if I make my dream, if I do my purpose, if I, do the things that I say I'm going to do, how is it going to impact those three people in my life? What is it going to change for them as they move throughout their life? What is that going to do for them? Now, as you think about all these positive things and what you're going to accomplish and things of that sort, I now want you to be able to say, okay, what happens if I do not recreate with my purpose and I do not say what I'm going to do and I do not accomplish what I've been telling everybody I'm going to do? How is it going to impact their life at the end of the day? And I'm more than certain you got a different scenario, a different energy, a different vibration when I flip that script on those three people of you not accomplishing the things that you said you wanted to accomplish. And that is why today we are going to reconnect with that purpose. And Tara is going to lay this out in a masterful way for us all to really be able to take a step back and reconnect with who we are and what we are and why we're doing the things that we're doing, and really put some spark into this new age, this new era of who you are and who you're about to be. And this is where I pass it off to the amazing Tara. Talk to us, baby. What you got?
Well, hello, beautiful people. Happy Wednesday. I hope you're having a beautiful day. And, the beautiful thing about it is you're here. And so it means you're alive. And that's a great thing because there are some people that don't wake up like that today. And so lots of love to you. Thank you for being here. Today is May 1st. And so if you don't know, that's May Day. How many of you as kids remember May Day on the playground? It was a whole field day for us. We got to get out there and do relay races and sack races. And, us country bumpkins up in Idaho, because that's where I was raised, we had even a chuck wagon that would come out and make lunch right there over a campfire and everything. So I'm showing y'all how country I am. But so it reminisce on those things as we talk about the beautiful conversation of reconnecting with your purpose, because that's going to go hand in hand. And what do I mean by that? Hand in hand is understanding what we are, why we are here, what's up. I think a lot of times in life, we as humans are ever evolving is a great way to put it. We have been sold the ticket that it is supposed to be one way. I know when I was when I was growing up, it was, you're going to go to college, you're going to, if you want to get married, get married. And if you want to have kids, but you're going to get a job or a career. And then you're going to work that 40. So you can work 40, hours a week for 40 years of your life, basically to retire for the next 40 and make 40% of what you made before that. And so the point being is we were all told that this is how life goes. And I know from personal experience as well, David knows that is just not what is so. You can do that for about so long, and then all of a sudden an awakening happens in all of us. And I think what happens is that we have labeled it called a midlife crisis. But I will tell you, at being the age of 41, I will be 42 this year. I am proud of it. I don't act my age, which is probably why, I don't feel my age. But with that stated, I think a lot of times we get to our middle portion of our life and go, well, WTF, what am I supposed to be doing? And I'm not fulfilled. That's the biggest thing. We're not fulfilled. And when that midlife crisis happens, or what people label as a midlife crisis, all of a sudden what pops up is, I need to go out and buy a sports car. I need to go buy a motorcycle. I need to go travel the world. I need to sell everything and, live around the world. There's these drastic changes, right? And I think before in 2020 BC, I heard that the other day, which I thought was hysterical. It's called before COVID or before C19 or whatever you want to refer to it. But back before 2020, we all were very much in a routine of going to work, doing what we need to do, pay the bills, live for the weekends, have a great weekend, maybe take a vacation a couple times a year, if that. And that was it. And when we all kind of, when 2020 happened, we all had a whole lot of realignment and awakening about different things, because different things happen to us as individuals, and through that process, a lot of us came down the pipeline of, what am I really doing with my life? Is this really what I want to be doing for the rest of my life, too? And so, today we're talking about reconnecting with purpose. That purpose is simply, I like to ask people, and I ask myself this, is because, let me stop and share this story before I share with what I asked myself. 10 years ago, David and I have been together for nearly 14 years. And 10 years ago, we were living in downtown Houston, had a beautiful condo downtown. We both drove luxury vehicles, if that's what you would like to call them. We made both each six figures. I do not share this to boast or brag. I share this actually to show you how broken I was, how unfulfilled I was, and really identify when I started my, oh, I'm not doing what I want to be doing in life. And I really had that lack of purpose. I remember one day headed to work, and as I was headed to work, and by the way, I was headed to a job that was great. They were great to me. They paid me well. I pretty much got to do anything and everything I wanted to do. I had, obviously I made six figures. I was doing great. But I remember pulling up to get on to I-10. And if you know anything about downtown Houston, there is a large population of vagrants that live, under 59 elevated. And I remember looking at somebody who was on the street corner and thinking to myself, as I'm sitting in my BMW, thinking, they have a better life than I do. Now, why would someone think that? I thought that because I stopped and was like, they don't have bills to pay. They don't have responsibilities to show up for. They don't have a boss. They don't have, this, that, and the other, and they're free. That's how I looked at it. Now, I really, during that moment, I realized the question I was asking myself, like, anybody outside looking in would have been like, hey, this is, obviously, if you went from material things to material things, you obviously have a better life. But I share that because I was at a point where I was like, I lack fulfillment. Something's not being fulfilled in my life. I lack life purpose. This is not what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. I don't feel like I'm making a difference in this world. And so that led me on a wild, fun journey, and Mr. Jones as well. Little did we know, 8 years ago when we started our business and started our mindset journey, that's when the whole kind of thing cracked open, because I continued that pattern for another 2 years before I ever got to the point of, hey, this might be something you want to change or identify or do something about, because living this way is not the way you want to be living. And so today we're talking about how to reconnect with your purpose. And here's the facts. 42% of people feel like they struggle or lack purpose, or they're not connected to their purpose in life. Nearly half of everybody, so one out of every two people, almost, uh, it we are at the point of, we don't know what our purpose is. We show up, we go work a job, we go home, we provide for the family that we have, and then, or the, people that we need to take care of, ourselves, whatever it is. And then after that, that is so. And so it comes down to the simple fact that um, we I found it funny when I went out to Amazon. I noticed that Amazon has 151,928, so almost 152,000 books on how to learn your purpose. So it's a topic that people want to know. It's why we are walking this earth. We all show up to do purpose, but I think it's important for us to identify what purpose is. And a lot of times we, like I said at the beginning of this, we go with the flow because this is what we were told to do. We show up, go to, college because that's what we were told to do. We do that. We have a family because that's what, we were told we need to do. And so the definition of purpose is, there's actually two meanings to the definition of purpose. Definition one is the reason for which something exists or is done, an aim or a goal. This applies to both objects and living things. For example, the purpose of a hammer is to pound nails. bird's wings is to fly. So that is the first definition of purpose. Purpose definition number two, a feeling of having a reason to exist, a sense of meaning in life. This is the definition that applies to that applies most directly to human beings. It is about what motivates you and gives you life direction. So, how many of us in life have showed up and be like, "What is the purpose of my life? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? Am I just supposed to be a mom? Am I just supposed to work this job? Am I just supposed to be a dad? Am I just supposed to be, part of the family? Am I just supposed to be X, Y, Z? You fill in the blank, right?" And I think what happens is because we are taught everything else about, the fundamentals of the one, two, threes, the mathematics and the arithmetic and things like that in school. We are not taught how to connect with ourselves. We are not taught what we should be up to, how to lean in and have a healthy balance in life. And so it is okay that 42% of us are walking around feeling like we lack or struggle with finding our purpose. I know I did. And I will share with you for the past 10 years as I identified, hey, is this really what I want to be doing with my life? And at that point, I was 31 years old. Now I'm 41. And the point being is, did I know that at that point, I didn't want to live the rest of my life doing what I was doing because in my heart, I felt like I needed to be making a greater impact. And being a project manager or being someone who was helping, in the design world of and being at the sea level, level, it just dealing with C-level executives all day. It just didn't feel like I was making an impact in the or the contract interior design world. Real talk. Like, okay, I'm making some beautiful interiors. And maybe some of you see that as, yes, that was, that's your calling. But that wasn't fulfilling. And I can tell you when people are not fulfilled, this little thing pops up called midlife crisis, as we called it. And that's when we start going out. People change relationships, people get, tattoos, they, buy new cars, they do these big things because all of a sudden they think, I haven't been living for myself. I need to do something for myself. And then all of a sudden they realize that they go out and they make these purchases or they do these things, and that 9 times out of 10 wasn't what they really needed. And I heard something really, really cool today. I was listening to Ed Milet, and if you all know who Ed Milet is, awesome sauce. If you don't, check him out. But in that share, one of the things that he was sharing is that people talk about, well, if I had a lot of money, if I was wealthy and that, this, that, and the other, would that make me happy? Would that fulfill my purpose? Would I be able to live my purpose then? I can't live my purpose because I don't have this money. And so a lot of people spend this whole life about making money. And there's nothing wrong with that. First of all, let's have this conversation. There's nothing wrong with making money if that is what your motive is. There's also nothing wrong with making money and having a purpose. So let's just make sure that's a crystal clear conversation, because it is totally okay to be in the vibration and the frequency that it works for you. So he was talking about, does money buy happiness? Does money, lend to, creating and finding your purpose? And he said something that I found that I had discovered on my own that took me a while. But he said, no matter how much money you have, no matter what you want, no matter where you go, you still have to take you. Let me say that again. No matter where you go, no matter what you want, no matter, how, you still have to take you. So even if you have all the money in the world and you are living your purpose, having a farm that you can rescue animals on, or creating, programs that help, children, or humans in general. It doesn't matter where you go and what you do, you are still a part of this equation. So if you're not happy, satisfied, or content with being with yourself, which David and I have had a multitude of conversations over the past few weeks about this, if you're not okay with being with yourself, then please, 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 please sit down and learn to love yourself. I say that with the utmost gratitude and love to you because I myself had to go through that journey of learning how to actually love myself, not say I love myself, not walk around with the confidence that I love myself, not walk around with that ego that thought that they love themselves, but truly setting down and discovering who Tara is, what makes Tara happy, what what is Tara's traumas and triggers and dramas, and really getting to the point where it is what is going on and how and why and can Tara love herself. And it wasn't, guys, until I think it was 2020, 2021, somewhere around in there. I remember exactly what happened. David and I had gotten in an upset with each other. I went out to get into the sauna in our house. I was having, like, just a thought in my mind going, this cannot continue. We're this what is this? What are we doing? And I went upstairs to go be by myself and do some more self-reflecting after I got out of the sauna to go shower. And I was listening to Clubhouse. So kudos to Clubhouse. I was listening to Clubhouse, and I jumped into this room. I don't even remember what the title was, guys, but it was something within the world of woo-woo that David likes to call, but it was something in the world of like stars and astrology and astronomy and all of that. It was something in that realm of conversation, planets, all of these things, right? It was in that realm. And I jumped in there because I thought, well, that's interesting. I'll listen to that. That'll take my mind off of dealing with what's going on in real life. And as I listened, there was 5 people in the room. 2 of them were moderators. 3 of them, which was one was me, were, listening. And the moderators were just in the middle. This room had been going on for like 2 hours. They were in the middle of a conversation with one of the guests that was down below who was asking some questions. And so I was just listening because I found it highly intriguing learning about it. In the middle of that conversation, something clicked. And I realized, I opened up my mic, I asked a question, and this lady said, "My dear, you have to discover self-love. You are looking for love outside of yourself." And I went, "That's not even what I asked the question about. Like, what are you talking about?" And she says, "I know that's not what you asked me, but that is the message you are to receive while jumping into this room today." And she says, I encourage you to write a letter to yourself about how much you love yourself and all the things you love about yourself. And boy, guys, I was like, no, whatever. But I was heavy into doing meditation and journaling. And so I kind of in the back of my mind go, maybe so. And many of you guys know my father passed away. This September will be 15 years that he's been gone. And I firmly believe that he's not gone. You just can't see him anymore. And he's right here. And I just had this inclination when that whole conversation happened, like something in the back that just said, hey, don't ignore that advice. Don't be hard-headed like you can be and ignore that advice. And so I went back downstairs. I went to my office, and I just sat down and I started writing a love letter to myself. I said, well, let me try this. It took me like 2.5 hours, guys, because I was so to a point where I was like, what do I love about myself? I had been serving, showing up for others, looking for outside factors to fulfill me. Back to that word fulfillment that I talked about earlier, and it wasn't working. It was not working for me. I was not where I wanted to be mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, or even in career-wise. It just was not working for me. And so I wrote this letter, and I thought, okay, whatever. And she said, after you write this letter, by the way, just read it to yourself every day. And I did. And I will tell you guys, something changed in me. After about 90 days of reading this, I realized I automatically went to things that I loved about myself. So I share that story with you, not because this room title is called What is Self-Love and How to Reconnect with Your Self-Love, but what I realized was in reconnecting and finding my purpose, it came down to I was in the middle of a hurt locker because I was looking external for everything to fulfill me. And I realized that I wasn't even fulfilling my own bucket. And that showed up in the middle of one of the hard times that David and I were having within, as we all do within relationships. And it was like a aha moment. How many of us have all had that aha moment, right? And so when I share that story, it comes back to the first thing in this entire thing is finding out who you are and what you big part of finding one's purpose or reconnecting with one's purpose. Today we titled it Reconnecting instead of Finding because I like to think that we all are already connected to our purpose. We just aren't so inclined to know what it is, right? And today's goal, my conversation that I'm sharing with you, and I'm going to pause for a second here after I share this, is to not only share what your purpose is, but how to find, that reconnection, how to reconnect, how to understand and get the roadmap of saying, okay, here's how I can take inventory. Here's where I'm trying to go. And this is the things I need within between that to be able to get to where I am going. And then lastly, how to be able to take action around, doing some things like that. So today's point of really having this is to give you guys some actual basic steps. And I actually have basic steps here of how to do that kind of brainstorming. Because again, 42% of us feel like we struggle or lack connection. So first and foremost, I want to stop and say, welcome on in, guys. Thanks for being here. It is Hello LLC Wisdom Wednesdays. We so appreciate everybody that is here. Miss Shirley, Miss Cleo, Chef Andy was just in here. Sandra, Ian, I'm sorry. It's so great to have you. And everybody else is tuning into us on LinkedIn and Twitch and X and fan base and metaverse and YouTube and a plethora of them. So my point being at the end of the day, guys, is come on up, feel free to join us up here if you would like to. We will be able to pass this mic around and let you guys be able to chime in on this topic, share what you would like to share, or even share about who you are, what you're up to, and how the community can come support you or your business or brand. And so with that said, I see Miss Cleo's on the phone. I'd love to open up and say hi to Miss Shirley. Miss Shirley, are you here? Would you love to chime in and say hi to everybody?
I would. I would love to say hi to everybody. That's very nice of you. Thank you. I decided to get some nature fix. So I'm out in nature sitting under a tree. And oh my gosh, it's really wonderful. I love your subject, finding purpose. It's really, really vitally important. And I think you can be very, very purposeful about discovering who you are. And I think that I like to take a two-pronged approach to that. Like, first of all, personal development coupled with a path of service. So that's what I've been doing, and it's working for me. And I use different people as my models for discovering myself, and my purpose. Like, I really love Freddie Mercury of Queen, because he was totally and completely himself all the time. And look at how extraordinary his life was. It's too bad it was cut short, but he was just phenomenal, right? So there's other examples, of course, but anyway, thank you so much for having me on. I hope that answered your question.
Absolutely, Miss Shirley. We just appreciate you being here and jumping in and sharing, saying hi. I am so with you on sitting underneath the tree right now. I wish that's where we were, but we don't have internet out underneath the tree, so we wouldn't be here live.
Right now, it's a little hot in Mexico.
It's a little hot in Mexico. And I love the personal development and the being service to others. that's funny because as we dive into this, that's a little bit about where it is. That's a little bit of the jam. And actually, some information that Mr. Jones shared earlier, where he was opening up, was some of the other peanut butter to the jam. And so, we are all very close. It's just the fact of getting some direction, understanding the roadmap. Again, we were not taught this in school. This was not on the algebra, 1 plus 1, A plus B equals Z. That wasn't on the test. So I will share at the end of the day, this is, I get excited about being able to identify these things, not only for myself, but sharing it with you guys, because I know there's so many people out there that if they just kind of knew the checklist or the roadmap or, something, they will make the impact they have in this world is huge. And so a lot of times we don't take action because we don't know how to get there. Back in the day, if you didn't have GPS and all of these things that we have now, people didn't go places because some people did not go places. I'm not saying all, but some people didn't go places because they didn't know how to get there. So if you had a map, if you had an instruction, the third road on the left, then take the next right. And then when the road goes to a Y, take, the left and the third house on the right next to the mailbox that looks like a cow. I don't know. That's how we gave directions before Google Maps showed up in our lives. And so today, the whole purpose of, this conversation is to reconnect and find out and get that roadmap. So I like this when I heard this earlier. Finding or reconnecting with your purpose is like dating. Think about that. Some people do. Some people find the first person that they date, and that's the person they're with the rest of their life. But more often than not, that's not how that works. And most people need to date a few different people before they find their one. And how many of us know that if they have found someone in their life that might be their one, that when you are within that presence of that person, it just is at ease? Now, I'm not saying the relationship's easy, but there's just a calm that you feel in the sense of like, okay, this person gets me, or this person, there's just something about it that works with this person that didn't work with the others that I dated, right? There's just something that you feel that resonates with you. Understand the reason I'm sharing that with you is because the resonation what resonates with you is the same thing that's going to happen when you are, in finding and reconnecting with your purpose. So my question for a lot of people is, did you lose it, or are we just in the middle of, connecting with our purpose? Are we in the middle of discovering our purpose? Because our purpose is pretty much born with us. And I look, I'm not going to take the spiritual religious, but it is something that we're all uniquely born with, right? Now, let me give you an example. I have an older brother. My older brother was born with this sense of adventure, is what we like to call it. And that means that he likes things that make the back of my hair, the hair on the back of my neck, raise up and go, no, thank you, nope. Now, I like adventure too, but I like safe adventure. I like things to know that I'm going to, make it home afterwards, not during the adventure of, oh my God, I'm going to die here on this mountain, which David too has experienced within taking a ride with my brother. It is just, he is an adventurous person. Now, he was born with that. I was not. I like adventure, like I said, but not like that. And so when I share that we're born with it, we all have this magical thing within us that we love to do, be, whatever. And it is who we are, and it is our gift to the world. And for a lot of us, we walk around and go, I'm not special. I don't have a skilled talent like, I'm not a surgeon, or I'm not a pilot, or I'm not an astronaut. And so I don't have a special skill set. So that doesn't make me special. That doesn't make me, have anything to give to people. Wrong. Sorry, that's just a learned skill set that they have. I have not seen any newborns pop out of the womb and go, I'm a surgeon, and start cutting on people, you know? So it is,
You're not going to be my doctor.
No, not on duty, boo-boo. Not on duty. I need you to get a little bit more experience underneath your belt before you wield that knife on me. But the point being is, you know, that's a skill set, and we have been taught that with that skill set, that is our life purpose. And far too often, we are tying our life purpose to a career. Let me say that again. We are tying a life purpose to a career. Newsflash, it can be related to a career, but more often than not, it is not tied to your career. So if you are out here and thinking, well, I'm an attorney, you know, and I do lots of pro bono work, you know, for the community. Well, that can be your purpose in life. But on the other side, in your off time, you like to go out and paint murals in the city that make the city look beautiful. Approved murals that are, you know, not, you know, trespassing and, you know, vandalism. But my point being is that is your true purpose, is what shows up for you that you absolutely love. Now, you can have multiple purposes, by the way. You don't just have to have one. It can be like a peanut butter jelly sandwich with, you know, bananas on it, or a peanut butter jelly sandwich with chips on it, or a peanut butter jelly sandwich with pickles. I haven't heard that one, but I'm sure somebody out there has tried it because they had that craving. Point being is, it comes down to identifying these things, reconnecting, and understanding that we're standing in our own way because we don't know how to get there. So think of it like this. You're the North, I'm sorry, not you are, but think of it as it's the North Star. The life purpose is a guiding principle that gives you life meaning and direction. Again, we can refer back to the definition that I gave you, which is a feeling of having a reason to exist, a sense of meaning of life. This is the definition that applies most directly to humans. It's about what motivates you and gives you the life direction. That was the second definition of what purpose was. And so it's understanding that it's the underlying reason why you get out of bed in the morning, the thing that motivates you, the thing that makes you feel most fulfilled. There's that word again. I share that because a lot of us in this life don't feel fulfilled with what we're doing. That is why Miss Shirley is out here getting into nature and doing what she's doing, because maybe at some point within her introspective work that she's done, she's like, I'm lacking some fulfillment in my life. And what is that? You know, what's going to fill that space? Again, all too often, we classify that as a midlife crisis of some sort. And in reality, we've just been disconnected. We have been taught that you need to go do this rat race for so long, and we've been disconnected. Now, I want to ask you all a question and see if you've noticed this. The older generation, so the baby boomer generation, when did they have their midlife crisis? It was around, from what I remember, in like 50s, late 50s, 60s. Okay? Gen X and older millennials, when are they having their midlife crisis? In their 40s to 50s. Now, early millennials and other, younger generations that are underneath that, when are they having their midlife crisis? They're having it within their 30s to 40s. And some of them now, the younger generation that is literally under the age of 20, is already living within that. What do I mean by that? I mean the fact that we are, as a human species, realizing, now, I have shared this in the past, we have moved out of the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. That means we are going to resonate with things that are more authentic in our life, and we are going to distance ourselves from things that are not authentic, meaning lifestyles that don't look, real or look like ours, or things that, people say or do that don't resonate with us. And we're like, nope, doesn't feel my vibration. I share that because when I'm talking about this midlife crisis from when the baby boomers had it to where the younger generation are now having it, it is because that time is shortened within the realization that the golden ticket we were sold of go to college, get married, start a career, work the 40-40-40 club, that whole dream, the white picket fence dream that they've sold us, comes down to the simple fact that it was taking the older generation longer in life to realize it. And younger generations are realizing it now because of the age and times we're in, and also because when you have a generation that is stops believing it, then you have another generation that's not teaching the next generation, you get 3 generations, 4 generations down that are all of a sudden going, hey, yeah, this is right. I'm disconnected. This doesn't, I want to do things that make me, that are resonate with me. Why do you think college in admissions are down right now? Because kids do not want to go to college because they are showing up at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, even whatever age they are, going, hey, I like gaming. I like, to play the piano. I like to do this. And they're able to do it. And all of a sudden they start a social media presence, which if you listen to our conversation yesterday about online presence, you understand that that is where people resonate, connect with you. And once they connect with you they're identifying and feeling the simple fact of, hey, this resonates. They're authentic. I like this. Again, we're back to people want to be around other authentic people who are speaking humbly about what they've been through, sharing their story, making it a space for us all to be a part of. And when we are, hey, I've been through that. I totally understand. There is where community is built. And this is what these kids are understanding, is that they're connected to their purpose sooner in life because they realize that when they stay within their authentic ways of being and they show up and do what makes them happy and fulfilled, well, the money just shows up with it. Something David and I learned, and this goes very hand in hand with what Miss Shirley was sharing earlier, is that personal development. David and I used to always say personal, network marketing, because that's where we started our business and our life on the business side, was nothing but a business plan, a personal development plan attached to a compensation plan. Because in life, it was about the personal development. And as David and I developed our personal development through all of that, what we did identify is that the more people that we can help achieve what they need to achieve in life, we will achieve ours. So the more people we serve, the more that we're going to be fulfilled and achieve what our dreams are. And so that, what Ms. Shirley shared earlier, was personal development and in service to others is closely related. Brother, sister, hand in hand. They are almost married at the hip. Now that sounded a little bad. Let me take that all back. But they're conjoined. They're like conjoined twins because it goes hand in hand. When we start identifying personal development, we start realizing it's not about us. It is about others. So, pause. Welcome everybody in. Love you for being here. Thank you so much. If you would like to, you can jump up here. But we're going to jump into next after this is how to reconnect with your purpose. And I've actually got some fundamentals and steps here that you can do it. Hey, Miss Sybil, it's so good to have you over here on LinkedIn side, and so good for everybody else. You're more than welcome to come up, share, introduce yourself, say hi, whatever you would like. This is an open stage, but you are more than welcome to hang out in the listening lounge. Mr. Jones, before I dive into the finding your purpose and how and the steps and things like that, thoughts, comments, what would you like to, share? What stuck out most to you?
I think some of the things that you reminded me of is when we did start, our journey, and that's something that I shared earlier on our social media. Is I shared a post that talked about, when I went to this event in 2019. I shared with people, it's about us coming together. It's about us wanting more and joining forces. And that message still holds true to today, where we really are finding our purpose and understanding our why of why we're doing the things that we're doing. And sometimes we forget those things. And being able to write a letter to yourself, as you mentioned, would be a huge thing for us all to be able to do, especially, with everything that's going on. Things have changed. And then, being able to really understand that life is nothing more than personal development, and being able to understand who you are and how you're growing. And something that I was reminded of yesterday, you guys hear me talk about, fear, but fear is also, the beginning of wisdom. And a lot of the times we don't want to, focus on our purpose, because that is us really facing our fears at the end of the day. Your purpose is attached to something that is successful, something that is going to require you to be something else than you aren't now. And as Tara was talking about, with meditation, with self development, and all of these things, it's really where you have to overcome these barriers in life that we're not willing to look at a lot of the times. And this is where joining a community, believing in yourself, more importantly, but understanding your surroundings creates your story. Your story creates these sacrifices that you take, these standards that you need to put in place, these new self disciplines that you have to, be consistent at and be committed at doing every day, right? And really having that conversation with the soul at the end of the day. And that's really what we're encouraging you guys all to do, is have that conversation with yourself and really be able to ask yourself, hey, am I giving it all to what I said I was going to do? Especially when we started the room of writing down three people's names of how you accomplishing your purpose will change those people's lives. And then what happens if you don't? How is it going to impact their lives? And I know when that was shared with me a while back, it really put things into a perspective. Just like this morning when running up the hill, I had a certain mark that I was going to hit, but then I heard this reminder, and I made it damn near all the way up where I would double what I was normally going to do. And so this is really where we get the opportunity to reconnect and understand that you can do the things that you set yourself out to, especially yesterday when I shared, about being able to reprogram ourselves. We are no different than our computer, our phone, anything of that sort. And sometimes, look, your phone starts to act up and go a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And what do? You got to turn that bad boy off, and you turn it back on, and boom, it's ready to rock and roll again. And that's where we encourage you guys to do that as well. And that's what this conversation is really about. As I shared yesterday, really being able to stop comparing ourselves to others. A lot of the times, because our purpose is attached to these goals and things of that sort, we compare ourselves to other people of where they're at in their life. And then, as Tara talked about, money isn't everything, because you still have to take you. And a lot of times we've seen people that have had a lot of money or have been successful, and they're still not happy. And this is where we start comparing ourselves, because I can assure you, a person in a one-bedroom apartment with not a lot of money is probably living a whole lot better than somebody that has 10, 20 million dollars, in their bank account, and not being able to enjoy the everyday necessities or life as, just that person in the one-bedroom apartment. The second thing that we talked about, or I talked about yesterday, was, letting go of the excuses. A lot of the times we allow these excuses to get in our way when it comes down to reprogramming ourselves. We give ourselves an outlet. And I shared yesterday, excuses is kind of like having a warm blanket over us. You know how in the morning when it's real cold, all right, or you got the room cold and you're under that blanket, you're like, oh, hell no, I'm not getting from up under this blanket. This feels way too good. And that's really what our excuses give us, is that we just stay stagnant. And just like excuses when we don't work out, when we don't meditate, when we don't let go of our pride and our ego, and when we do those things such as workout, damn, why didn't I do this more often? I feel a whole lot better. Damn, why didn't I not drop my pride and my ego? Now I got things accomplished, and now I'm doing a whole lot better. And so, it's really allowing us to let go of those excuses. And that's where the fear comes into play, where I talked about earlier. Fear is not, false evidence appearing real. That is one way of looking at it. But as I continue to share with you guys, it's focused energy arranged to react. And this morning, I was reminded from a post I posted a while back is fear is the beginning of wisdom. You need to change that perspective, change that processing system of looking at fear in the negative way and looking at fear in the positive way. Hey, my ass is fearful to go live, and present my business and showcase my business. But I know if I do go live, I'm going to get more lead generation. I'm going to be able to share my story with the world. I'm going to be able to get, more people to understand what I'm about and how I'm doing this. And damn, it feels a whole lot better because I faced that fear. And that was the beginning of wisdom. And then one of the last things that is not definitely not the last, and I see so often more than fear, more than people comparing themselves, is being consistent, right? How consistent are you showing up in everyday life with your significant other, with your relationship with your friends, with with everything in your life? How consistent are you with doing those things? Because I'm here to tell you, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And a lot of the times we let that go in one ear and go out the other. If you're not communicating at home, you're not communicating in your business. If you're not taking action in your business, you're not taking action at home. Hello. If you're not taking action, and giving love, you're not getting it back. And this is where we have to be able to really understand consistency is the key. And it doesn't matter what it is, because if you drink enough water consistently, then you're going to end up getting in better health. If you end up doing vices consistently, you're going to end up going down the slide. Your vices, alcohol, weed, whatever it is, that vice is going to cost you. And so this is where we encourage you guys to really be able to turn that consistency into the positive things. Show up for your business, show up for your relationship, show up for your everyday life and taking care of your health. Because without your health, nothing else matters. If you want to be consistent in anything, be consistent in that. And so that's why we encourage you guys to really be able to understand that, this is a different age, a different era. And now we have the tools to be able to, have these conversations and really be open to having these conversations as well. And so that's what I would have to share on that, love.
I love it. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones,
Yeah,
for that
yeah.
share. And thank you for recapping, some of those things that we talked about yesterday during our conversation. I love it. I love it. I love it. So welcome on in. For those that just jumped in, we're talking about reconnecting with your purpose, and we are going to jump into how to do that. Because again, this whole point of this conversation today was to just have a chat. 42% of people do not feel like they are connected, or they are struggling with being connected. And so we absolutely love that. Thank you, Eames, for coming on up. You're more than welcome to jump in, say hi if you would like to.
Hey, how you doing, guys? I'm glad you guys opened the room. That's just currently something I'm definitely struggling with, the midlife crisis and everything. I've been blessed to be able to accomplish every goal that I've set out in life. I'm truly grateful to God. I've had my dream job. I currently rent my dream home. I don't own it, but it's just a blessing to be there. I'm currently struggling with my purpose, what I want to do. I know what I want to do. I know what I've been preparing to do. And it's actually just, it seems almost hopeless. It's almost a hopeless task. I've seen others go about it, and I really want to solve the problem and make it work. And I'm just feeling very defeated to the point I'm just like, you know what I want to do is just hopeless. Is there any advice that you could give me?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for jumping up here and even sharing that. That probably resonated with everybody who's listening, as well as myself, because that is exactly why we are having this conversation. Number two, I would like to share with you. Most of the time, I will tell people that The reason why you show up in our room is because there is something that you need. There is a frequency or resonation, or there is something where we're going to share today. We might never see you again, but today's the conversation that you're going to get, that whatever you were asking for the universe or the good Lord above is now gifting that with you. So I'm going to say this. I'm not the expert of all in knowing how to get people, connected to being an expert within the field. I'm sharing from a point of view of where I have been. I have been in your shoes, having David and I had all the money that we could have in the world and since do anything that we wanted to. And we both found ourselves so unfulfilled, lacking purpose, and just kind of like, why are we even doing this life? What is the purpose of life? What am I supposed to even be doing here? And so we were literally jumping into the steps of how to identify that. And so I think this will be super helpful for you. This is a little bit of a roadmap to get you these are questions I'm going to pose to you guys that will allow you to get thinking. So I'll give you all a pause to get your notes app open on your phone or grab a pen or something, because these questions will really assist you in being able to do some critical thinking. And that's really where it's at. Nobody can tell you what your purpose is, but we can absolutely ask questions that get you thinking around it so that way you can identify it. Because usually what happens is we already know what our life purpose is. We just don't have it uncovered yet. It's kind of hidden underneath, some sand or some dirt. We got to get that dusted off so that way it's shining bright and, everybody can see it. So first and foremost, I would always like to share that purpose is going to be something that just lights you up. Now, again, what I was sharing at the beginning of this conversation is that purpose is not always connected to money or careers. It can be, but it's not always. And we've been kind of taught that it is, that, your career is the purpose of why you are doing this life. That, like you shared, Ian, you've already had your dream, career. So if you are fighting where you are now and like, what's my purpose? That career was maybe a portion of it, but you are still seeking that full, true, this is it. The second thing I would share with you is that, when you ask yourself these questions and go through these questions and you find and land on something and you start participating in that, the feeling that you're going to have is like, this is it. You're just going to know at an instinctual level, your gut level, whatever you want to call it, you are just going to know, this is it. And it could be tied to making money and it could not be tied to making money. So I need you guys to understand it is going to be what fulfills you the most and resonates and has you at a calm state, right? Okay, here we go. So what is something that you guys can do for hours? I mean, talk, be a part of for hours on end. You're constantly sharing with all your family, friends, anybody who will listen about this information, or you're showing them, or you're doing it for them, or you're a part of it. You're wanting to take them there. What is that you can just do for hours and it doesn't exhaust you? You just want to talk about it, be about it, all of the things. But and the other thing is, it will give you, the more time you spend doing it, it will give you more energy. You will feel yourself, even though you're like, yeah, I'm tired, but I am full of energy because I'm fulfilled. I feel like I'm actually at purpose doing what I need to be doing. So for me, I love talking about and sharing and learning more about anything within the fintech space. So more importantly, within like cryptocurrency projects, I love learning about how fintech is the new financial system that we will be using in a world, thing. I could talk about it for hours. Ask David. Absolutely. The other thing is anything on, as what David calls, the woo-woo side. So anything that's in astronomy, astrology, anything that's in that realm of, that realm, I was just having a conversation over the weekend, and I was sharing with about the age of Aquarius and the age of Pisces and this lady who I was having a conversation with was like, I'm just so enamored. Like, I didn't know any of this information. I could just listen to you for hours. And I'm thinking in the back of my head, I could talk about it for hours too. So what is it that you love to do? Another thing I like to do, guys, I love to help people, and I love to help animals. Whether it's providing for them in the sense of making sure they got food and water and shelter, just having the basic necessities in life. I love to be able to help others. I love to be able to see others have a need, and I know my solution mindset, I can help solve their problem. I love doing that. That is partly why the business that David and I own and run is all about solution oriented, and it's all about finding the solutions within that. 1 second, guys. Had to get some water for the frog in my throat. There we go. That way I'm not sitting here clearing my throat to you every 5 seconds. So I had to, that's something I absolutely love. That is why I love what we do within our business, because we are solving people's, problems within the technical side of things of, getting on their online presence and getting their foundation of their business built, and how they can take advantage of Web3 and really be able to be the early forefront in Web3. So that way, when the mass adoption, which is coming very soon, all of that, I geek out on all of that stuff, guys. I also enjoy just kind of puttering around the house, cooking, reading, just doing things. Those are other things that I love. But I will say at the end of the day, it's not up there at the top where I love to talk about these other things or be about these other things, because I do get tired of doing those things, right? So that hopefully shared some information on that portion. We have a few more questions here, but I hope that really when we dive into what can you do, talk, or be about for hours that stimulates you, and everybody else around you is like, oh my God, shut up. But not really. Don't ever, ever. It's just the fact that that might not be their love, right? Okay. So next thing, your purpose is always going to be in service to others. Your purpose will always be in service to others. I was reading a study that showed that there is some scientific evidence behind that dopamine is released when we are utilizing our hands to do things, and it is connected with a fulfillment of others, helping others. So in sense of, are you maybe knitting an Afghan that you're going to donate to the women's shelter? That the fact that you're physically moving your hands and then knowing what you're doing with that once you get complete, that actually releases a physical dopamine within your body. I didn't know that. I thought that was pretty cool. Wanted to share it with you guys. So your purpose will always be in service to others. Now, I get it, because this is me all day. But what about me? It's my purpose. What you get in return is the fulfillment, the satisfaction, the knowing that you are putting some of your good energy and effort out into this world for others. And others can be humans, others can be animals, others can be inanimate objects that ultimately help a human down the road. Like you love to invent things, and you're an inventor. And so you're constantly inventing things that, help people, right? What is the end goal is always going to be in service to something outside of you. It will also probably help you, but it's always going to be on the service of outside of you. So here we go. It's really about 6 or 7 questions. I've already asked one, but this next question is, who are you? And the question I'm looking, or not the question, but the answer I'm looking for is your name. I'm not looking at you for you to give me I'm Tara and I'm 6, foot tall. I'm born in Alaska, raised in Idaho, lived in Texas, now a digital nomad. Nope, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for, what is your first name? Tara is my first name. There you go. So the second one here is, what do you do? Okay. So this means, yes, what do you do in your career or your job? But what do you also love to do? We're back to this. What can you talk about for hours? What can you be about? What can you, share with others for hours? What is it that you love to do? And there can be a multitude of things on there, guys. So don't just limit it to one. Okay. Now, next is, and this is where when David was sharing at the beginning of the room, I was chuckling because there are sometimes we are so in line. We didn't even have a conversation about what we're talking about today. We just knew the title and both of us showed up with key points that we wanted to talk about. And I love it because there's so much attunement that David and I have found, and that takes time that we've been able to find it. But here's the next one is, who do you do it for? David asked you to write down 3 people of who do you do it for. I encourage you to write down everybody that pops to your mind. It could be your families. It could be friends. It could be complete strangers. It could be animals. It could be, people that you will never, ever, ever meet. Who do you do it for? And you're like, well, what do I do? You wake up. Who do you wake up for every day? Why do you wake up? Well, I wake up to go to this 9 to 5 that pays me just a little bit over broke so I can provide for my family. Well, bing, 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 bing. Your family are the people that you have. The end of the day, your family, that's your answer, right? So yes, I know that you have the whole shebang in front of it of, oh, I go to this 9 to 5, they pay me just over broke or whatever. That, yes, but why? Because you're providing for your family. That's why. So whatever that is who do you do it for? Okay. Next is, what do those people want and need? What do those people want and need? So if you're doing it for your family, do they want time with you? Do they want time freedom so you guys could go do whatever it is that you guys want to do? Is it money? Time, freedom of money, of having all the money you're able to have so you can do whatever you want to be doing? Is it love? Is it, shelter? Is it food? Is it, just somebody who's going to protect them and stick up for them in an advocacy role? What do these people want and need? Next, you're going to say, and how do they change as a result of when they get that from you? So for example, on your family, if it is love, time, and money, and those are the 3 things they get for you, what is the result? How do they change? Who are they when they get that from you? Does it make them happier? Does it make them sadder? What are they more inclined to go out and be in service to others? Or, are they more inclined to show up and help out? What is it that they are showing, how they're showing up once they receive what they need from you? Okay. All right. Next one is, who do you admire? Who's your hero? Who do you look up to? Could be a multitude of people. Could be just one. Write that list out. Right? Now, why does that matter, Tara? Well, here's why. Because first of all, you've likened these people. You want to be around these people because of some quality or characteristic that they have. Are they showing up to be in service to others? Are they helping others? Are they feeding the homeless? Are they sheltering the homeless? Are they, helping, dogs off the street to give them homes, and cats? And, are they rescuing abused animals? What are they doing that makes them so admirable to you? And then list out the qualities. Is it because they tell the truth? Well, what you know to be the truth, right? Now, that's a loaded question. We won't go down that road, but is it because that when they speak, it resonates as the truth to you? Does it just say, you know what? I can totally understand what they're talking about. Or is it gibberish and you're like, I have no clue, I'm confused, and it gives me a bad, funky energy? Well, that's not somebody you admire then, right? So once you identify that, is totally understand, identify their, their qualities, their traits, and write those out. And here's why. The reason why is because those traits and qualities and characteristics that you like in them, you have in yourself. It's why it resonates with you. You might not be doing it on the scale that they're doing it. You might not have it as much as they do, or you have more than they do. But it's because there is something in you that likens and resonates with what's in them. And it is easier for us as humans to see the good and to see even the bad, or the what other people need to be working on, for you to see in others before it is to see in yourself. This conversation I'm having today is going to allow so many people to stop and go, oh my gosh, I see this in myself. Tara and her sharing has helped me see it in myself. And that's the point. I hope it does. Because then at the end of the day, I gain a sense of fulfillment that I showed up, I contributed value that helped people get unstuck. Again, I'm a solutionist. I love to solve problems. I'm going to find roadmaps. I might not be able to drink for you or pee for you, but I'm going to get you to the water or the toilet real quick. And I'm going to sit there and hold your hand so that way you can have, I mean, that kind of gross, but anyways, you can have, the roadmap of where you need to get there and how. And then I'm going to be able to help support, we're going to be able to help support that as you go through that journey, right? So who are the people that you are admiring? Miss EM, go on. Come on. I saw you come off mic.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just, I was hoping that you could probably give me some advice on what I can do. My desire is to hopefully come up with a great solution to resolve homelessness in this country. There's 75,000 people in California just alone, and Grant versus Pass is in the Supreme Court. And I would love to know what I could do. I've seen a lot of nonprofits, a lot of different legislation, but we haven't found a niche that actually nips it in the bud. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for asking that question. And that's actually where I was going with it, was in the portion of where it is to take action, right? So what you've already identified where you want to be, within being able to eradicate homelessness within our country, right? Okay. So first and foremost is we all understand that it's going to take a community to be able to help that. So make a list of all those things that you were just talking about. Like there's tons of programs and there's tons of, groups out there. Make a list of everything that you can think of, whether you tried it or you have not tried it. The reason I say that is because this is called a brain dump. You got to get this all out on paper. There is something scientifically proven that when we don't just sit here and think about things, but we physically write, not type, not, text, physically write on a piece of paper from our brain to our finger, it helps us think and process the information. And so I would encourage you to first do a brain dump. And brain dump all of those, things that you were just sharing, groups, organizations, programs that whether you've been a part of or you have heard of, doesn't matter. The second thing that I would suggest for you to do is to really sit down and identify, is it homelessness in general? Like everybody who's homeless? Is it veterans? Is it lower class communities? Is it children? What is it? And it's okay if it's all, like, I just want to eradicate it in a full, everybody deserves it. That's cool. Totally do that. But you need to get specific. Yesterday, we had a conversation about your online presence, and a part of that was identifying your niche. This is the same exercise you're going to do now, is identify who you want to help. What does that avatar look like? What does that person look like? Are they middle-aged? Do they have a drug addiction? Did they just fall, hard times? They lost, their job. They don't have any money and they just need, what is it? How did they become homeless? And I know that a lot of people are like, well, why? Why is that going to help when I do that? because it is extremely important, like we shared yesterday, to understand who you are serving, who you are showing up, whether it's you're going to sell them a product in your business like we talked about yesterday, or today it's about who are we serving as our purpose. You have to get very, very vivid of who that person is. How do they become homeless? How old are they? Where do they live at? How do they even survive on the streets? How are they, what do they need right now? What is an immediate today they need? What do they need in the next 2 weeks? What do they need in the next month? What do they need in the next 90 days? What do they need in the next 6 months? What do they need in the next year? You have to get clear on that, because if you're not clear and you're just out here, you're going to eventually find your purpose, but it's like a sailboat. And if you're a sailboat and you don't have your sail all the way up and you're just drifting at sea, you're going to go anywhere. You're going to get to land at some point, and maybe the land you're trying to go to. But if you have your sail up, all of your sails set to how they need to go, you know which direction you need to be going on the compass, you're going to get there a lot sooner, right? The third thing I would share with you is that brain dump of all of the groups and all of, the programs and whatnot. When you start going through that brain dump, I now want you to go back to that list, and I want you to circle the ones that you have not tried. I want you to X out the ones that you have tried that you don't like. And I want you to put a box or a square around the ones that you have tried that you are now like, I kind of like what they're up to, but I'm not sure. What else is out there, right? So that way your brain, and the reason why I'm telling you to do this is because over 95% of our actions on a daily basis is done on a subconscious level. So all of this work I just told you to do about, doing a brain dump, writing all this all out, who is the person, your niche, your avatar, that avatar. When you're doing all of that, you're literally releasing your the control on your brain. I think it's actually 4 to 5% of the conscious brain that runs, and your brain, the subconscious part of your brain, runs 95 to 96% of your daily actions. Let me share an example. You drive home from somewhere that you drive home from work every day, and you get home 30 minutes later and you're like, man, I don't even remember driving home. That's because your subconscious was driving while you were thinking about everything and anything else that was going on and not paying attention to the drive. You're breathing. You don't even remember that you're breathing throughout the day or taking a breath while I'm talking right now. That's subconscious level actions. And so what happens is when you do all of this work and you drop all of this information onto paper, not only are you now getting the connection between your brain and your hand going, but you are releasing your subconscious to solve the problem. So solving the problem literally means that at night, when your brain, your conscious brain, shuts down and goes to sleep, your subconscious is solving problems underneath the level. And so when you write all of this and you start saying, okay, I did not like the experience at this program, I did not like how they did this, I'm crossing it off the list, or I did like these people, but I want to see what else is out there, so I'm going to make this a square, or I have not tried this group, but I want to go check them out because I've heard really good things of what they're up to and how they're helping people, and you circle them. That allows your subconscious to go to work to solve the problem. And then the next most important thing is just like you showed up today to listen to this conversation, you might never show back up in our room again. That's okay. We love you no matter what. But the thing is that be willing to listen to what you call your higher power, whether it's the universe, whether it's God, whether whoever it is. You allow that message to come through to you. And what do I mean by that? How many times have we, as humans, received this aha moment, I have an idea, and you share this idea, or you are not, I'm sorry, not share this idea, but you have this idea, and all of a sudden you're like, I don't know how to take action on that. I don't know how to get that done. I don't know, and you come up with 9 million excuses in front of it. Well, that was the universe and the subconscious, or that was God and subconscious solving your problem. That was the idea that was going to get you where you needed to go. But often or not, we second guess ourselves as humans because we don't, well, what if that doesn't work? I tried that, or what, this, that, and the other. And we go through this whole thing of, conversation that we talk ourselves out of it. And so the last thing is then get involved. If you can't, if you have programs or groups that you want to be a part of, you need to go out and get involved with them. You need to take action and experience it and see if they're doing what you need for to feel fulfilled. Now, if you want to go out and start something on your own, that's okay too. It is just at the end of the day, figuring out the logistics. It comes down to a logistical thing once we have the roadmap. And I just gave you all the roadmap as I helped Miss Em find out how she can get to the point of how she's going to help eradicate homelessness in this world. So, Mr. Jones.
And I think that even goes down to what we were talking about yesterday, right? Of being able to understand, your target audience, being able to understand, how we're going to brand ourselves and how we're going to be able to showcase what we do, and then being able to get it out to the world. Because right now, utilizing social media, to be able to eradicate homelessness and be able to eradicate a lot of these things and bring these things to attention, we can do those things now. And then, how much content are we creating? How much, what are we doing? Who are we collaborating with? Those things come into place. And then being able to have the systems in place to be able to, have this running as a well-oiled machine. So you're not, busting your butt or being the janitor trying to get all these things, situated. And you can really work on, right, other than in this whole entire, purpose of what you're doing. And what we share with people a lot of times is that, what you want to do. A lot of people know that they want to do XYZ. They just don't know how. And that is why we encourage you guys all to, join our Pivot membership, where you can join it for $7 a month. And we literally have 100 videos that show you how to get your social media in order, how to implement some of these tools and strategies, how to be able to really, do the things that you might not know how to, because you have the purpose. You just don't know how, nor do you know what buttons to press. And that's where we come into play, where even if you want us to show you, even if you want us to do it for you, we encourage you guys to join our Pivot membership and join our community, where you'll see other people that have a purpose and that are accomplishing their purposes and that are doing it, right? Such as Miss Shirley, that is one of our Pivot members, such as Miss Cleo, that's one of our Pivot members. And so this is where we encourage you guys to really be able to upgrade your current systems now, to implement new things, because this is where we have to really, as I shared earlier, get out of comparing ourselves to other people, get out of coming up with excuses. Well, I don't know how to do that. Technology isn't my thing. AI isn't my thing. Metaverse, this new Web3 isn't my thing. And it blows my mind when people say that in itself. Yesterday, there was a gentleman that shared, oh, the metaverse, it's not going to be the future. I'm like, do you understand what you're saying? You're literally saying that the internet is not working right now, and the internet is not helping us all connect. We're moving to the third generation, to where we're all creating new experiences and wanting new experiences, especially if Nike, Gucci, Hyundai, Ford, JP Morgan just created their virtual reality world, where people can come and learn more about the stocks and crypto and things of that sort. So once again, unless you got a bigger R&D research team than some of these Fortune 100 companies, I want in on it. And if they're making this pivot and they're transitioning, this is also to where we now can restructure our purpose and now get it out faster than ever because of all this technology. And you don't have to be the grunt or doing the grunt work, where you literally can say, hey, Chat GPT, hey, Gemini, and be able to implement these plans and systems by copy, paste, drag, drop. And that's where we're at in today's society, for you all to really be able to get out of your own way and to say yes, tell the world, and go do it. And that's really what has gotten me and Tara to where we are now, is that was the motto that we lived by, is that, we knew that, we didn't know what we were going to create, but we knew we wanted more than what we had. And we knew that we had the work ethic. We knew that we weren't going to quit. We weren't going to give up. We weren't going to stop. right? Like so many of the people that we have seen that have stopped, there's so many people that have quit it, so many people that have just given up, and they call it, oh, it failed. No, you quit. And there's a difference between the two, because failing is only learning and gaining. And so often we think that because we didn't accomplishment in the time that we wanted it, and had these expectations that we're going to be millionaires in the first year, first 2 years of our business, when we're not showing up, we're not posting, we're not going live, we're not reaching out to nobody, we don't have the systems in place, and yet we're saying it didn't work. I call BS. Your ass ain't working. And so this is where we really have to buckle down and say, hey, have I lost touch with my purpose? Or am I not doing the work that it requires for me to get to my purpose? And these are the things that I have to do, is to restructure and retool and reutilize the things that I'm using now, kind of like with being able to implement these things into our daily lives. And so this is where we share with you all to be able to do these things. And so I hope that helped you all be able to not just just this is tough love, as my mom and dad used to say, but this is something, a conversation that you need to hear. And take this knowing that we want the best for you, as we all should want. But this is really where we got to say, hey, am I coming up with excuses, or am I not executing? And those are two different types of worlds. And so this is where we encourage you guys to, hey, it's Q2. This is May, that we're in five of 12. Let's just go ahead and say we are 40% done with 2024. Okay. What did you do new in the last 4 months? Are you still doing the same thing that you did January 1st? If you are, and you're being honest with yourself, this is where you have to be able to ask yourself, hey, I need to transition. Hey, I need to pivot. I need to do something different. And don't be waiting until a birthday. Don't be waiting until graduation. Don't be waiting and giving yourself, oh, I'm going to wait this, that, and the other, because there ain't no time for you to be waiting. And a lot of the times we sell ourselves with that excuse. I'm going to wait till this. I'm going to wait till that. And you never get it done, because then it comes, oh, it's the holidays. Oh, then it's this. Oh, it's too cold. Oh, it's too hot. And come on, man. We as they say on Monday Night Football, come on, man. We got to move. So what you got on that, love?
Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones, for jumping in there and sharing that. And, at the end of the day, while you were sharing that, I was thinking to myself that it comes down to the simple fact of, as we always say, press the button, take an action. The other thing I would share too, in, identifying, and how to be really reconnecting with one's purpose, or finding your purpose, and truly, is that your purpose is always going to evolve. So don't get stuck in the fact that if I start this, that I have to be in this forever. No, it's going to evolve. It might evolve within the same arena. It might not. You just have to understand that it is going to evolve. It evolved since you were, in your younger years to now. It's going to evolve as you get older. And as we get older, your sense of purpose is going to increase, because that is us. That is who we are at the end of the day, as people, and as a human being. We are here to create and be in service of others. And that part of that creation process is to help others. And so I would also share this, Miss Ian, is, in regards to homelessness and helping eradicate that, is, and this is for everybody, is first of all, identifying that, is there a monetary need based in it? Meaning, do you need to make money in order to live? That's important for people to understand, because again, like I shared earlier, is that your purpose does not have to be linked to your career. Do you want your career to fund your purpose? Do you want the money that you do make in life to be able to help eradicate homelessness? Or is this something that I just want to give off in my time in the evenings, on the weekends? I work, or you work from home, and so you're able to, give most of your day to others. How is that? Where do you want this to show up in your life? How much time are you going to be, giving to it that actually then gives you a sense of fulfillment, you know, that you, okay, I'm doing enough. I now feel like I'm actually having a impact in it. And then the last thing I would share is identifying if you want to, and I shared this before, if you want to do it on your own or if you want others to help you. Now, it does not matter if you do it on your own or if you choose to, you know, be a part of another community or group or mission that is doing something that you love what they're up to. You could go start something similar if you want to do it your way. It is just identifying those things and then taking action. So the biggest hurdle that most people have to find is identifying what they even want. So Miss EM, you've already identified what you want. So you are ahead of that roadmap, and you now just need to take the action of how you want to get that done and where you want to get that done. And that really, again, is like leading a horse to water, but you can't always make them drink. And it's not so much about making people drink. It's that I can't do the drinking action for you. That's things that you're going to have to find out on your own. So hope that helps. Giggles, it's so good to have you in here. It's good to see you. I just saw you and Miss Cleo and Miss EM. Did that help answer your question?
It kind of did. I think what I'm really focusing on is really it's the public's pushback. Money is there. There are government grants. There are many organizations, nonprofits. There are people willing to give money, but in a sense, the issue that keeps playing out that I haven't been able to nail down is the public opinion. A lot of people say, yeah, I want to help homeless, or, you know, I'll donate $1 to that. That's a great thing, but don't put that in my backyard. And that's where the pushback comes from, because these people have to get on their feet some kind of way. There has to be a housing first program, or housing allowed, affordable housing, even people that work every day. You know, some people are 2 paychecks away from being on the street. But when you have those programs, even Section 8, a lot of people are like, nah, just, you know, it's a stigma, I guess, with poverty that a lot of people just say, I don't want that in my neighborhood. So it's not necessarily, I haven't figured out the niche. Maybe it's a political push. I'm glad to see that grant pass is in the Supreme Court, so it's getting attention to homeless people out there. But it's really the public. And I'm not sure how to get that over across to people that, yes, this could be you one day. And somebody's going to look at you and say, not in my backyard. Don't pitch your tent over here in my, you know, my child's park, etc. And I haven't figured out what speaking tools or how to get on a soapbox and fix that. Thanks.
Well, that's a great point. And that's, you know, just another portion of it to solve. Well, first of all, you're not going to solve people's, you know, you're not going to change people's mindsets by talking at them or to them. I'm going to tell you that right now. The way that you change public opinion is by action and showing people. The reason why people don't want that in their backyard, whatever it is because of whatever stigmatism that has come from it, whether the cleanliness, or, you know, everybody's a thief, or whatever the stigmatism is. That is generations deep, and you are not going to eradicate it by getting on a soapbox and talking to them. That's just my personal, you know, opinion, but that has not worked for me in the past. And I'm just sharing from personal experience that it won't work for you. What will, and what I have shared, is the action portion. Okay, well, what does that action look like, Tara? Well, in my eyes, it's showcasing, first of all, it's a deeper problem than just putting, where do we put people? That is the surface level. We have a bullet wound, and we're trying to put a Band-Aid on a bullet wound when we're just saying, okay, where do we put people to give them back? The real issue that we need to solve, first and foremost, is what is the trauma that is happening in that person's life that has got them into the position that they're in. You know, what trauma showed up in their life at a younger age that's not healed, that has then got them to substance abuse or gambling their money away or whatever it is, or they have no purpose of life of living anymore. What is that has robbed that light and that joy out of them? The moment that we start healing the trauma around people is when they start then correcting their own behavior. And the issue you're running into is that people in, neighborhoods that want to help, but they want to help and it be far away from them, is because of the way that people show up in life because of their traumas. So people show up and they're mean. They don't have any respect for land or whatever it is that these people believe. It is because it's related to the trauma. So we first have to solve that, and we have to fix that. That should be your number one, is getting that done. Because just like the body, when you start, everything you put into your mouth, you're either feeding a disease or killing a disease. And so what I mean by that simple fact is that when we show up, we're either helping or we're hindering. And if we show up just to go ahead and give someone housing for the immediate fix, that is putting a Band-Aid over a bullet wound. Now, you and me both know that that's not going to suffice. And so when we do get to the point of where we can put people and how to be able to put a community of someone who is just, first step housing off of, from homelessness right next to a middle-class neighborhood. The reason why that's going to work is because who the people that you're putting into that community, how they're showing up. And look, we all have traumas, whether you're in a middle class, you're in an upper class, or a lower class neighborhood. It don't matter. We all have traumas, period. If you're a human, if you're an animal, you got a trauma at some point. Animals just know how to be able to diffuse it quicker than humans do because we were never taught that. That was our conversation we had last week. But what comes down to the simple fact is then when you put people into a place, a stepping stone for them to get back on their feet, they're showing up because now they have love, self-love for themselves. They've healed a trauma. They want to show up in the neighborhood. They want to pick up trash. They want to make sure the kids are crossing the street okay. They're protecting the community. They're not hindering the community. And the reason why you're having pushback from communities is because of the stigmatism of it going to hinder my community. It's going to bring my property value down. But if we have communities where the trauma is being healed first, and then they're going into first step housing to be able to get them into wherever they need to go next, they're showing up wanting to give. And when they're wanting to give, people, that changes people's opinions and how they view people. Again, you're not going to change that by speaking at people. You're only going to get that changed by action. And it's not going to be your action. It's going to be the action of the people who move into the community. And right now, people feel like it's a negative and it's a hinder, and they take, or they're going to be bad for it. And you have to break that stigmatism by healing the trauma within the people who are on the streets. And it also needs the trauma that's in the middle class or whoever it is that's pushing back, like, oh, I don't want that here. They have a trauma too, but they're going to have to figure that out on themselves, because you're not there to help them. You're here to help these people. And that is my honest opinion of where it would start. Mr. Jones, what would you jump in and add to maybe that from a different perspective?
Well, first of all, I want to make sure that everybody, gets that concept. Is that more information for you, Miss Iam?
Yes,
Awesome.
you definitely put it in perspective. I'm so glad to hear that. That helped tremendously. Thank you.
Yeah. And the thing that I would add to that, right, is especially what we shared earlier was just, be open-minded, and I think Tara hit it on the head, right, of just taking action, and then, creating a segmentation or just a piece of it and starting there first. Instead of trying to tackle homelessness overall, maybe create a niche or create some system that tackles one piece of it, and then be able to build upon that. So that way you can be able to cater to that. And it might be, the children, it might be, with food, it might be with clothing, it might be with you setting up, a foundation that you can do online, and it doesn't have to be a physical place. You could set up a GoFundMe. And that's what I was sharing with you guys earlier, that right now with social media, you should have a LinkedIn, have a TikTok, have a Twitter, have all of these social media outlets where you can go on live, and you can, maybe pick out some neighborhoods, or pick out, some people, or even have these conversations with these people and have a conversation with them to be able to donate. There's that one gentleman that goes out, into the society, and he, asks them what do they need, and he goes to Walmart and he purchases it, and now what he's able to do is he's able to set up a GoFundMe now that people donate to. And now when he's out and about asking these people, what do they need, he now can pull from that GoFundMe fund, to where now, you can go out into the neighborhood. And this is what I was sharing earlier. It also comes down to us taking action and us not being afraid or having to come up with all these plans or all this other stuff. Just go out and do it, and your tribe will find you, and people will start to understand what you're doing. And a lot of the times we worry about the people that say no, other than the people that will say yes. And so that's where I would really focus on, is not listening to that broke brother-in-law, not listening to that sister-in-law that doesn't want to do anything, or our family members that don't want to take action. Go out and find people that actually want to do it. And then even more importantly, you can go out and find these communities that are already doing it, and you can join them, and be able to help them even further. So hopefully that helps. And that's a great conversation of just with your situation, that it relates to all of our situations and what we want to create and what we want to do with our purpose. Especially right now, I think a lot of the times when we do go to look at, building or creating something, we're utilizing these old technology, these old strategies, these old ways of doing things, where even you could create, just hearing, just talking this out loud, you could create a metaverse world where people could come and donate and listen to, and see these different stories that you've done, and people can, have an experience of actually helping out the homeless people. And this is where we share with people, we have to open up our horizons, because the things that we didn't have back then, we do have now. And AI doesn't have an age limit on it. Metaverse doesn't have an age limit on it. And like I said, I was in a room yesterday, where they were or 2 days ago, where they were talking about all these different stores and how each one of these stores had different experiences. And everybody kept talking about experiences. And I'm like, ding, 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 ding. This is where the metaverse, this is where AI, this is where us upgrading from our systems we're utilizing now, creating new experiences for people. And so this is where I encourage us all to think outside the box, to whatever our purpose is, to whatever we're doing, and be able to implement these new strategies and things that are available. But what you got, love?
I wanted to add to that, when you were talking about the creating the community, is, we don't have to do it all ourselves. And so, Miss Em, as you're, looking at this and starting to, say, okay, I need to niche down. I need to funnel down. I need to drill down to, okay, ultimately I'm going to help with the homelessness, but we got to get down here and help, heal the traumas, kind of get into that introspective area. And not everybody wants to do that, but it is where we've got to do the healing level. That's where you're going to go out and find other people like you that want to live that purpose, that have an expertise in that area. So whether it's, somebody that has a medical background, somebody who has a spiritual background that knows how to clear traumas through doing energy work, there's all these kinds of things, because people are looking for relief, and that's ultimately what they need, is the relief of things. And it's you're not going to, you're the one that's going to be the master planner of, okay, I have this, I know how I need to, do it. And I want to find a community of, people that want to give their time, that could be able to help. Okay, we're going to start here. I'm going to test pilot a little program here in my community. I know 5 homeless people that we're going to assist, right? And then you connect with these communities of where they are to, help people in the first step housing out of the streets, where, you do know there's a friendly area where it will allow that. Start small, it will grow big. But if you do it right from the start and get that community around it, because there's other people out there like you, the only way you're going to find that is if you start asking, showing up, and requesting, and saying, hey, this is what I'm up to, this is what I'm looking for. It might not be the people you're talking to, but it might, their uncle, their cousin, their, whatever, might be inclined to say, hey, I know somebody, my niece wants to do this and she would love to be able to help.
And Miss Hyam, just taking a look at your profile, right? Especially with if you're coming in rooms showcasing this is where you can connect your social media, right? And be able to maybe set up a GoFundMe. This is also to where you can also create a podcast, have a weekly, monthly podcast. Another great idea that you could be able to do is maybe start an apparel line. People that implement and utilize our Biz in a Box, we create an apparel line where you could take those proceeds and you could be able to say, hey, you buy this shirt, you buy this sweatshirt, you buy this cup, you buy this, that, and the other. The proceeds will go to homelessness, and that right there alone would create a great incentive, because now people are getting something for giving something. So it kind of works out in both ways at that point. And a lot of the times, that works as well, to where now it's an incentive for people to donate, just like the gentleman, that his company now has went, worldwide, where he was selling socks. And when he was selling socks, he told people, if you bought one pair of socks would go to the homelessness. So somebody else did it with shoes.
Yep.
And so,
Toms.
Toms. And so this is where we are able to implement these new ideas and these new traditions, that we can implement into our business and put them to work. And so I saw Miss Cleo was in the chat sharing something. Miss Cleo, I don't know if you're on the phone. Oh, you're still on the phone, but when you get back, definitely come off mute, and definitely would love to hear, some of the things that you're doing. And Giggles, if you have anything you want to add. Oh, there you go, Miss Cleo. Go ahead. Talk to us, ma'am.
Hey, good evening. Yeah, so this conversation was really I've been in and out because I'm working on a paper for school. I went back to school, for those of you who don't know. Working on my master's in social work. And interestingly enough, the focus of my paper is on spirituality. So I was kind of in and out. Um with connecting your spirituality with your purpose, and how that helps you to find fulfillment in your life, right? So a lot of times we can be searching for our purpose, and if we could start first with finding out what we want to work towards that's going to bring us fulfillment, we can go there. And I had similar feedback for the lady that was speaking earlier, with trying to make impact with homelessness. I love all the feedback that you guys gave her, and also for her to understand that maybe she can just, since her purpose is really, or what it sounded like is that she really wanted to educate people about homelessness, she could start like starting a social media platform, an audio room or something on LinkedIn or even on Clubhouse or wherever she feels comfortable, to start that education and having that conversation, and even putting out, if she wanted to take the route of addressing the trauma, putting out suggestions that people can utilize to address that trauma, so that they can be more open to um, you know addressing social issues regarding homelessness. And from what I found in doing the paper I'm doing today, is that a lot of issues stem from lack of understanding, understanding other people's situations, their history, and what led them to be where they are. And that would be needed both for the homeless person and for the people who, are against homelessness being in their backyard, right? Understanding, what was their lived experience, and then providing them the education that they need to make better choices. But in doing all of that, we have to know that sometimes we will not be able to change people or their opinions. In fact, we can't change people, period. People have to be willing to do the work themselves in order for them to make the changes in their lives. So that was my tidbit. Thank you for letting me share. Great room, great advice. Loved it.
I love it, Miss Cleo. Thank you so much for jumping up here. For all those that are in here, please go up and check out Miss Cleo and Set Yourself Free. She is a mom. She is an amazing student. She is an amazing community member. She is a business owner. So you guys go check out her business in a box up top and see how you guys can lean in and, check out her apparel line. But yes, Miss Cleo, I love that. It comes down to really that understanding. And another level of understanding is understanding oneself. And, we oftentimes don't have that guidance. I know there's a lot of people that will come and say, Tara, I love listening to you because you just, it just makes sense when I talk to you. And then I get it. Well, guys, I wish that was for myself too, because I need to go talk to other people to be like, all right, does this make sense? Or am I cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Because what the heck what's going on? Right. And that's just, the way we are as humans. And that is the importance of community. And so I love that, Miss Cleo. And yes, I am firmly, with you in that link and the tie to spirituality. As you know, we've had multiple conversations offline about that. And it just is really the simple fact of when we start to identify the things that matter to us, what we love to do, how we love to help others, where our traumas are and where they're showing up. And I just speak from my own experience that I've been doing work around my traumas and whatnot. And at the end of the day, it just simply was that I wasn't getting clear about what was at work in my own area of life before I could even start helping others outside of myself. And, so it is a recipe of things that we need. And that is the beauty of having a community like this. We get to share those beautiful things. But, lastly, as we wrap this amazing room up, the biggest thing that I wanted to share with you guys is before we dove into Miss Eam's assistance there, and I hope that really helped you all, because I think having practical examples like that, you guys can insert, if it's not homelessness for you, it's something else, and how you can do that and how you can see the steps to get there. And the last thing I would ask you guys to think to yourself as, writing down the questions that we had earlier was, if you had all the time in the world, I mean, all the time, you didn't have to get up and go make no money to do anything because everything was taken care of and you had just nothing but time freedom on your hands, what would you be doing with that time? And many of you are going to stop and say, I would be by the beach. I'd be sitting at the beach. I'd be getting massages. I'd be golfing. I'd be fishing. I'd be, hanging out with my family. What is it that you would be doing? And I will tell you that those immediate reactions that you have of the, I'll be sitting on the beach, which, is me, because I love being around the water and ocean. Or any water for that matter. David would be fishing and golfing, period. You can only do so much of that before you are just like, okay, I need to be doing something. This is good. I enjoy it, but it's not fulfilling. I'm not being fulfilled. And when you get past that, the reason why you all go to the initial, I'll be on a beach or golfing or, just sipping Mai Tais, in Bali, it all comes down because we are so overstressed and over just, we are just fried. That is just because we have such busy lives. But after we get past that rejuvenation period, because we all go to the rejuvenation, we want rejuvenation, is what is the longevity portion of that? What will you be doing in the long run? How are you going to be passing your time? When money's not an object and time is not an object, who are you going to show up and help? And back again to those three people that David shared earlier is, how will it impact them? And how will the impact it has on them, how will they impact others? It comes down to the little pebble. We all think we're just the little pebble in the stream, but at the end of the day, you can stack multiple pebbles together to create a dam, to create, sidewalls, to make water flow. If we all come together and we're able to work together, that's when we really find purpose, when we're finding community and we're finding that fulfillment and giving back. Because I can tell you there's nothing that feels better. That for me, one of my biggest things is, as anywhere in this world, there are a bunch of stray animals that live on the streets, whether you're in the States, whether you're in Colombia, whether you're in Mexico. And I will tell you, there will be a day that I will have the absolute ability to just be like, yep, we're going to scoop all these puppy dogs up and these kitty cats up, and we're going to take them and help them get healthy. We're going to find them homes. We are going to take them over to our ranch, or we're going to have a conglomerations of a community of people that want to be able, that we will be able to orchestrate that. My biggest thing, it is something very close to my heart, is animals. I love humans just as much. I love, the eradication of trauma in humans, and that will be the other thing that I will focus my time on, as my purpose is to be able to help eradicate the trauma and us to identify that so we can get unstuck in life. As Miss Cleo is the unstuck coach, she'll help you get life unstuck. But it really comes down to the whole fact of, what do you want to be doing with your time in the long run? I can tell you right now, it's going to be spent with my family, David's family. It's going to be spent, in the pucker toolies, meaning the woods. We'll be out fishing. We'll be out helping and giving back. And then outside of that, it'll also be the creation of projects and systems that help a conglomeration of animals and humans. So that is my life purpose. Mr. Jones, would you love to share with the people what your life purpose is? Because I already know. I'll share it for you. Mr. Jones's life purpose is, to help humans. Period. He always talks about the community that we met in Colombia, going back and helping them. But I know Mr. Jones, he will do it at a grand scale of helping so many humans be able to do just what we were just talking about, is get back up on their feet, be able to help heal those traumas and eradicate those same things. So with that said, guys, your friendly reminder in all this is, your purpose will evolve. It is okay if you're in the middle of it. Use the questions and the steps that I shared today. This is it's a journey. It is not a destination. And, focus on the progress of it and not the perfection. And with that said, I see Miss Giggles got her hand up. Miss Giggles, what you got to share, love?
Oh my gosh, this has been amazing. I have been listening in and doing things. My son just arrived home last night from university for the summer, and I'm so happy. I'm teary to have him home. But I've been listening to a lot of this. And you know what? I believe the foundation, if you're not able to help yourself, you're not going to be able to help others. Period. I mean, you are the foundation of everything you do. So you've got to deal with you before you can deal with anything else. And that's a hard truth for some people. That's a hard truth. It was a hard truth for me many years ago, and it's been a journey. I had to heal myself. I had to help myself to figure it out and get clarity so that I had a solid foundation so I could help others. I just love this conversation. I love the topic, but I do have a question. I'm always confused. Is your why and your purpose the same thing? I get confused with it.
Well, let me answer that for you, because I literally ran into that answer today. And yes, it is really the same thing. It is just called two different things, but it is the same thing. It is, why do you do what you do, and for who do you do it for? And as the questions that I went through earlier today, those were the exact same questions we were asking. And so it is the why. I would say that the purpose is the action behind the why. So, it is the same thing. It's like peanut butter and jelly on a peanut butter jelly sandwich. You know what I mean? Like, you need to have a why in order to understand your purpose, and that goes in together in the sense of, when I ran into that today, it is identifying the why, as because the why is a big portion of your purpose. Does that answer it, Giggles?
Yeah, so the why is the reason and the purpose is the action, is what I'm hearing.
That's what I would take it as well when I saw that today. Yep.
I like that. I like that. I get confused with it. So I like that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm so glad that your son is home. I know, when I talk to my mom, she's, or my brother, it's like, when are you going to come home and visit? And so I do understand. It's nice to, we all like to go home. So thanks, Miss Giggles, for jumping up or for sharing that and asking that question. And just thank you everybody who's been here today. We greatly appreciate it. We're going to get ready to close up this room. Does anybody want to say any last comments before we wrap up this amazing room today? I love it. Awesome sauce. Well, thanks again, guys, for jumping in. I know that this has been helpful for me in identifying, purpose and having that conversation. I know it's been helpful for other people. And so we just appreciate you as a community showing up. And, hopefully that provided value. Mr. Jones, you got anything you want to add before we bow out?
I just encourage you guys to really take this conversation to heart, like Ms. Giggles did. And then, I love the fact of purpose is, action, and your why is the reaction, or it's the reason, should I say. And then, more importantly, guys, come and join us tomorrow for Hello Pivot with Financial Literacy is Taught but Not Taught with teacher Melanie. That is at 6 p.m. We also, on May 9th, which is next Thursday, have a grand opening for Miss Marilyn Clark for her Map Leadership Solutions in our Hello Plaza. She's opening up her metaverse store, and so she's going to be able to share with people, hey, come and join me in the metaverse from your cell phone, your laptop, your iPad, or your VR headsets, and give people a different experience and showcasing her business from her coaching, from her apparel, to her program that she has as well, and then even more importantly, updating her crusty, dusty, Zoom that she has with her clients to being able to share with them, hey, come into my, my actual storefront or my back office to get, more information about what I'm doing, just like Miss Cleo has now, that she's going to be doing her podcast and doing her meetings in the metaverse as well to showcase that, create a different experience. And so with that being said, you guys know the drill. Love,
Kindness,
integrity,
but most importantly,
commitment,
and consistency.
and until next time,
Toodles!
see you guys later.
Bye, y'all.